But of course, one of the things I've learned from Lusaka is that I think one of the things we need to learn in our performance contract is to beat the traffic. Now that our president is spot on time, then we just have to learn to navigate the traffic. Your Excellency, it is my singular pleasure to thank you for accepting to preside over this auspicious occasion for the signing of the ministerial performance contracts for the financial year 2023-2024. Your Excellency, Kenya's overall development agenda, as espoused in the Vision 2030, is dependent on a public service that is citizen-focused, results-oriented, efficient, motivated, and foremost corruption-free. Consequently, the government has adopted strategic initiatives based on the aspirations of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, better derived from the Kenya Kwanza manifesto. The aim is to capitalize on the gains already made from implementation of public sector reforms to spur socio-economic development. Performance contracting is one of the fundamental performance management tools being implemented in the public service. This prized tool has been implemented continuously for the last 19 years, and its full entrenchment will ensure the realization of our country's long-term economic development goals. Your Excellency, the first-level performance contracts are signed annually between yourself and the respective cabinet secretaries, and thereafter cascaded to downstream institutions. These contracts provide linkages between planning, budgeting, and clear deliverables. It is worth noting that the performance contracts being signed today are the first under your administration. There is excitement that your administration has aligned budgets to specific programs and projects under the medium-term plan 4, which is better sector priorities. This ensures synergy between budgetary resources and specific targeted deliveries. The introduction of performance contracts in the public service gives credence to the urge, which has been referred to, what gets measured gets done. Adoption of performance contracts by ministries, departments, and agencies establishes uniformity, consistency, and objectivity in measuring public service performance. Sustained implementation of the contracts should enable public institutions to refocus on improving institutional governance and efficient use of public resources, leading to effective service delivery as demanded by us by the Constitution. Your Excellency, Executive Order Number 1 of 2023 entrusts my office with coordination of performance management in the public service. Since then, I have made several promissory pronouncements regarding the public service we envision for Kenya. Today, I will restrict myself to presenting a report leading to today's event. The first port of call was to re-engineer performance management through tested strategic initiatives. First, the performance contracting process has been automated through the development and rolling out of the government performance contracting information system. This has made the process fully web-based and therefore set to minimize the need for lengthy interpersonal interventions and consequently saving valuable management time. Second, my office has initiated the development of a public service management bill that seeks to streamline and standardize performance management in the public sector. It will provide a framework for rewarding meritocracy and performance while fawning on ineptitude and discouraging non-performance. I must add that this is the first time public service management will be anchored in law. The optimal deployment of the human resource in the public service will gain immensely from this bill, as it intends to give legal backing to officers who toil without reward or promotion. Your Excellency, even as we demand optimal output from our public service, we must urgently cure it of lack of career progression and almost lifelong acting in positions. Your Excellency, it is evident that acting in a position for long durations demotivates public service officers. Third, we are currently in the process of developing a public participation bill jointly with the AG's office that aims to reinforce the positive transformation brought about by the 2010 Constitution of Kenya. It proposes to establish clear standards for effective public participation and to create a robust framework for the management and coordination of public participation initiatives throughout Kenya. Cognizance of the constitutional principles and values of governance, the proposed bill seeks to place the citizens at the heart of governance processes, thereby ultimately promoting more inclusive and accountable governance. By doing so, we aim to strengthen the state-society relations and ensure that the voices of citizens are actively considered in decision-making processes. Your Excellency, the background to this is that in tandem with performance management, public sector reforms are vital to a government that is responsive, efficient, and citizen-centric. These reforms aim to transform our public institutions, streamline processes, eliminate bureaucratic hurdles, and enhance governance and service delivery. It is clear in my mind that by undertaking these reforms, we are creating an enabling environment that fosters economic growth, attracts investments, and improves the quality of life for all Kenyans. However, to effectively implement performance management, productivity mainstreaming, and public sector reforms, we must adopt a multifaceted approach, embracing a culture of continuous learning, professionalism, and perfection will enhance effectiveness and efficiency in MDAs. For this reason, we will ensure regular monitoring, evaluation, and reporting of progress. This will enable us to identify areas in need of improvement and take corrective actions. Furthermore, transformation of performance management will create efficiency through investment in state-of-the-art technologies, providing training and capacity building opportunities. It will augment a culture of collaboration and knowledge sharing and shear off this existing silo mentality. By harnessing the power of digital transformation, we can automate processes, reduce redundancies, and maximize productivity. This brings me to the issue of corruption. Your Excellency, the public is tired of our persistent appeals, pleas, demonstrations, and threats against corruption. It is time to act and act decisively to end this scourge, especially the temptations in the public service. As the executive, we are ready to do our bit. The Auditor General, the control of budget, churn out disturbing revelations about blatant theft of public resources. These reports are invariably confirmed by Parliament. The question is, where is the missing link in bringing culprits to account? Your Excellency, we must require all agencies in the criminal justice system to save us the agony. They must do Kenyans justice, and this is not weaponizing state agencies against anyone. All we are asking them to do is work without doubt, fear, or favor. Your Excellency, your firm hand here is most critical. My office coordinated a stakeholders forum to review the performance contracting guidelines. There was unanimous consensus that we refocus MDA's performance contracts to deliver more on their core mandates. As a consequence, MDAs are now required to include in their performance contracts the following indicators that are core to the government's transformative agenda: digitalization of government services to accelerate the adoption of ICT in service delivery; 2, productivity mainstreaming to entrench a culture of performance and productivity to enable MDAs measure the efficiency and effectiveness of resource utilization to realize maximum output with fewer inputs; and 3, implementation of the Presidential Directive on National Tree Growing Restoration Campaign to accelerate the growth of 15 billion trees for restoration of 10.6 million hectares by 2032. This is to also This is also expected to increase Kenya's forest and tree cover from the current 12% to 30% by 2022. Your Excellency, today's ceremony marks a key milestone for our administration. The implementation of the performance contracts will ensure that the commitments that you made to our people are realized. May it also interest you to note that the performance contracts that we have signed with you have been deliberately designed to incorporate the priority programs and projects contained in the fourth medium-term plan, MTP4, 2023-2027, and the national development priorities in the 5 better sectors to be implemented by MDAs during this financial year. The remaining performance contracts will be finalized, signed, and cascaded to other levels to facilitate timely implementation of commitments captured in the contracts for this financial year. May I thank all the Cabinet Secretaries, Principal Secretaries, Chairpersons, and Executive Officers of state corporations and development partners for supporting the entrenchment of performance management in the public service. I assure you that I have not taken your support for granted, and it will not be in vain. In conclusion, Your Excellency, I do recognize your immense support in the institutionalization of performance management in the public service, which is core to the realization of a citizen-centric public service.